Okay, see if I can make this guy big. Photos, enlarging, embiggen. Here we go. This is my first ever voiceover. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but here we go. Um, this was a house I had, and the master bathroom was never finished. It was in really poor shape. When we moved into the house, we cleaned up the house, we repainted carpet everywhere. Never got to the bathroom really until we were ready to sell a house, but it was functioning, just not so great. Anyway, you can see here we have the really nice plush carpet, and this was our transition. We went from carpet to vinyl, and you can see the vinyl kind of curls up over here, and also the edge is splitting, breaking off. It's kind of uneven. We painted up through the point here, so if we just shut the door, you couldn't even see the bathroom. Everything looked fine because it was just completely sealed off. Plus, this was like really old design, dirty, needed to be replaced. It had lots of issues. Of course, this was a very jagged edge. And let's see what else we got here. Another view of the jagged edge. And I was thinking, since I'm going to remodel, I might consider one of these little transition strips, made of nice marble. So took some pictures, got some samples. My wife always tells me that the photos never truly give you the good color, so I stuck in my nasty jacket here just so I could have this as a reference because this is not going to change. So took a picture of that. Here is the rest of the bathroom. You can see the funny floor down here. It's really crowded. The vanity is not original. It's much larger. In fact, I think the original bathroom just had a pedestal sink. The vanity doesn't really fit. It's not centered where the plumbing comes through. It's not centered on the mirror on the wall, which I don't even know if that's original or not. I'm pretty sure this was added later. There's holes in the wall. I think they had paper towel dispensers here. The shower is a retrofit. This goes over old tile from 1970s. The door never shut right. It would close on top, but not at the bottom. Plus it wasn't square because this gap here was much tighter than the much larger one down here, which was also one of the reasons why it wouldn't close right. There was no adjustment left here or up here. So I did the best I could to make it work for a while, but eventually, it just wasn't worth it, and it was time to just fix the bathroom. It had other issues besides that. The walls had really bad wallpaper. We just pulled it off and exposed this, so lived like this for a couple of years. And another picture of the bath, another picture. Also, the shower pan was never level, and you can see the water kind of sat here and left a stain, and I've cleaned it up as best I can, and that's as good as it's ever gotten. Let's see what else we got here. There's a whole picture of the bathroom. Very narrow. It's very skinny. The shower stall is 3x3, and there's a 2.5, 3-foot section outside the shower, which was only there to give you room to open the door, which seemed weird because you had all the space and half of it is used just to open the door. Here you can see that a little better. It's a 3x3 shower and almost 3 feet here of just space for opening the door. You can't really use it for anything else. Again, out at the store looking at thresholds as a possibility. And we started tearing things apart. Temporarily put the toilet in here because I wanted to rip this all apart and get in and see what's going on. We had issues with the floor being very squeaky, and one of the reasons we found is that the floor was rotted. Funny thing is, with all of this here happening, there was absolutely no sign of it downstairs in the basement, which has a finished ceiling. So yeah, this floor here was all rotted. You can see it's been wet all the way out to here, and we just figured I had to like cut this out and replace the whole thing and get into this plumbing because this here looks all corroded and stuff. Here's a closer shot. You can see the plywood's all delaminating. It's extremely soft. It's just really sad shape. Pulled off the vinyl in the bathroom, and you can see it was over this nice blue tile. They had knocked out some of the tiles down here so they could put in the shower pan, but yeah, it's just old, bad. They never really filled the holes or sealed it properly where any of the plumbing went through, and I'm sure it absorbed a whole lot of water over the years. Here's another shot. You can also see they just glued this right to the ceiling, so now this is all unusable. It'll all have to be replaced. Started cleaning it up, pulled out the shower pan, and it exposed a iron pipe used as a drain. I thought that was kind of odd, and also, cleaned out all the drywall and stuff that was down here. Here's a closer shot of the floor drain. It's basically just a galvanized steel pipe threaded into this elbow and held in with a lot of silicone. I don't know if that was code, but that's the way it was. Okay, another shot there. You can see I took down all the tile, and there were some really nasty studs in here that needed some attention. Also, when I pulled up the squeaky floor, I found that this, the heating duct was totally disconnected. From here to here was not connected at all, and this pipe just blew hot air into this cavity and eventually made its way out here, heating the entire floor, which I guess is not really a bad thing. But I got that all fixed up and taped up here nice and good, so nice and sealed. Also, this water pipe here that feeds the sink was actually about 3/16 of an inch higher than the floor joist. And it had a whole lot of pressure on it. I thought that was kind of weird because you can see the adhesive here is smashed down flat where the flooring touched the joist, and also out here. But here it kind of pulled right up. It was all full size because the pipe was actually supporting the weight of the floor. Next. Okay, here you can see I got this thing all removed and replaced with PVC. Stuck it up above the floor so I can cut this off after the flooring goes in. I got a solid perimeter put in so that when I put in the new flooring, it has a nice solid edge all the way around, as well as support in the middle here. There we go. The new flooring is in. Whole lot of screws and a whole lot of glue. I wanted to make sure this one was squeak proof because years with squeaking in there is just driving me nuts. Another shot of the floor. Also had problems with silverfish. I could never figure out why I had silverfish in the bathroom because we never left any water anywhere. Always dried everything up, never left any wet towels on the floor. I opened up the wall because I was putting in a pedestal sink and I needed to move the supply lines 3 inches over. This is what I found. A very, very, very tiny leak in the pipe, and over 40 years, or how many ever years it's been, probably since the life of the house, I think it was built in the 60s, this just totally corroded and was always wet, apparently inside. And again, no evidence of leakage down below on the finished ceiling. Very strange. There, I cleaned it up a little bit. Okay, here I cleaned it up a lot. I just replaced a big section of the pipe. There's still some corrosion down here, but I was able to clean up the pipe enough here to put on a fitting, and I scooched it over 3 inches and supplies 3 inches, and also I had to move the drain, so this got a 3-inch section cut out, and then you'll see a splice here. And of course, while I was at it, I changed this pipe here because I wanted to get rid of the old valve, and it didn't stick out very far, so I made sure I had plenty of pipe here. There's another shot of the plumbing installation. Yet another shot. And a close-up. Okay, this here was a stud in the shower, and it was so crooked, the contractors even had X's on here like it was a problem. I had to cut into it in 3 or 4 places. Here's a saw curve here and down here, and I think there's 2 or 3 others further down. And I cut about 3¼ inches into the 3½ inch stud to straighten it, and then I had to put another one up next to it so that it would hold it straight. Here's a picture of the wall behind the sink and the toilet now that the drywall is up. Much cleaner installation, looks really nice. Okay, doing some framing. I replaced a stud here. This is the crooked one here. You can see the new one that's butted up against it. This one had to be replaced. That he was so bad, just terrible. And I also notched this one, and I made a little bit of space for a cubby. And also had to add a stud here. There was no stud at all, had no support, so I just put one in this way because there was support here for the other side, but not for this side of the drywall. So I put in a brand new stud here. I replaced the plumbing, I put in a whole new valve and better support up here and a new shower spout. Also, I moved the sewer. I guess I didn't get photos of that, but the drain in the shower, I moved further out. It's going to be way over here, more towards the bottom of the photo, and I had to cover this one here. And I also added a bench into the shower. And you'll see better pictures of that here coming up. Here you can see this was actually going out over the foyer and then eventually into the garage. For some reason, all this board, the sheathing was torn off and the insulation was missing. And this is an unheated room. It's just basically attic on the other side here. So it was allowing cold air to come right into the bathroom and into the shower area. Not a good thing. Okay, I replaced the drywall here. I also put a light in the ceiling. I don't know if you've ever had a light in your shower, but it makes a world of difference. You can actually see what's going on. Because prior to this, the light was about 9 feet away and around this corner. Because it had a 3-foot shower, another 2½, 3 feet for the door to open, and then another 4 feet over to the side wall where the lights were. Nothing in the ceiling. It was all light on the wall, and I had to go around this corner to get into the shower and then past the opaque glass door. So just odd. You get used to it, but you put a light in here and you'll never go back. You can see how much light it provides. Well, of course, this one here is on too. Anyway, here we go. Getting all cleaned up. You can see another new stud here. This one here is helping the bad stud. This one here had to be shaved down. It was just totally out of whack. This one here had to be replaced. This one got cut and I made room for a cubby. This is a new stud. And this one here also had to get shaved down and adjusted because it was just way out of whack and just not worth messing with, and just kind of chopped it up. Okay, here, same thing, just gives you a better view of the plumbing I had to do to reinforce, the framing I did to reinforce around the plumbing. Because the new valve was much larger, I had to put in, or wanted to put in, an anti-scald valve, so just figured I would get everything up to date, up to code. Okay, here you can see The stud that I had put saw kerfs in, I also had to just shave it off. In fact, it got so bad it wasn't even worth shaving anymore. This I started to shave. Area down here stuck out so far, I just took a hammer and chisel and just chopped it off, and then I used the brand new straight stud to give me a nice flat surface. And then I just added this one in here along with a little bit of support back here to make it nice and stiff, just to give me a nice solid wall all the way across, and also very straight, because these were all different thicknesses, they all stuck out, and there's no way you can put wallboard across these without it breaking or bending and bowing, and I just didn't want to mess with that. Here's another view. You can see how much I actually chopped off of this, and I went all the way through here, and cutting with the saw kerf, this still wasn't far enough, so I just chopped it and said done. Here I packed in some insulation to stop the airflow, and there's a whole lot more packing on the other side, and you just can't see that from here. There, I got it all taped up nice, and got some all staples. Put some staples in here to keep this here all nice and clean and neat, keep the airflow out. There you can see I've re-insulated the whole thing against this outside wall, and even though only the top side goes against the attic, which is unheated, I went ahead and insulated the entire thing all the way down. And here you can see also the nice curb. I put nice 6-inch curb around the bottom. Okay, here I put plastic down on the floor and put a wire mesh on top. The plastic is so that when I put cement in here, the plywood underneath does not absorb all the water out of it really quick and make it hard and crumbly. So it will cure slower and hopefully harder. And then the wire mesh is there to help bond it to the flooring. Here I started putting in the cement and just kind of working on it. You can see the back side is done, and I'm just kind of troweling and smoothing out the front edge here. Okay, after the pre-slope was put in, then you put in the vinyl sealant, and I've got nice folds in the back here. Plenty of room I left for the additional material. In fact, I think I made room and kind of tucked it in. You can see the end here. So there's no cuts, there's no seams, there's no overlaps. It just kind of tucks back into the corner and gives me just the thickness of the rubber liner. And I actually made accommodations for that so that when the wallboards go on, there's no bulge at the bottom where it comes up over the liner here. And the liner goes up nice and high. All of the fasteners are way up high. They're going to be totally covered by the wall. And the liner is a single continuous piece up and over the threshold here. There's a better view of the whole thing. Here I'm starting to put in the actual shower pan, or the cement where the tile is going to go on top. The back side there is pretty much smooth. Just kind of working my way around towards the front. And here I've got different lengths of boards I had cut, and you can't really see, but I have a line drawn on the liner with a marker. So that tells me where I want to be, so it's nice and level all the way around. And since the wall is shorter from here to here than it is from here to here, the slope is going to be slightly different. So I cut boards of different lengths so that I can kind of screed it off as I go around, and then I just kind of finish in between with the hand trowel. There, it's pretty much all done. It's got a few more little spots to finish off and polish up, but it's getting there. Bigger view. Okay, the floor here has hardened, and you can see I'm putting up plastic on the walls as a nice vapor barrier, just a little more added protection and added waterproofing. Okay, I guess I didn't get the detail, but I did do a lot of detail work here around the cubby with the plastic. I wanted to make sure this was completely sealed, so if water got through the tile, through the cement board, through the waterproofing, tile waterproofing cement board, that it would hit the plastic and it would drain down and into the shower pan, never touching the wood and then eventually making its way into the drain. Temporarily set the toilet in there so I could work and get the cement board out here into the main floor. Okay, kind of put some tape and mud cement on the walls, got those all sealed up. Waterproofing starting to go in. Started with the corners, used a fiberglass tape and RedGuard. And you kind of use little pieces you cut to fit in the corners, big long pieces in these big corners, and many, many coats of RedGuard on top of that. This is one of the, I believe, 3 coats that I put on in the shower. There's a closer view. Better lighting. Another shot. You can see I put the RedGuard everywhere, all the way up to the ceiling, completely on the walls. I made a really nice tight fit up here. This has been super attention was paid to this and also to the protrusion here. And very, very careful to have a proper slope on the bench and waterproofing everywhere and all the way down into the drain. If water does get behind anything, it will go into the vinyl liner and the vinyl liner will drip in. If anything gets behind that, well, it's not going to get behind it. It's either going to drip off of the top of the tile or through the cement between the tile and the vinyl liner, and the vinyl liner is the final barrier, and everything drains into the drain here. Here's another shot. You can see I got the light bulb installed, and I got the drain installed. And I painted the walls. These turned out really nice. There's a close-up shot. You can see I have the plywood new floor, and on top of that I put the cement board. And you can see I got a nice tight fit here around the drain with the wallboard. These scooching covers will go over these little holes here and here. And of course this will get cleaned up when the vent goes in. And I even waterproofed and put corner edging all in here because this is not going to have a door. This threshold is a barrier for large amounts of water. If anything splashes out, it's just going to get on the tile. There's a picture from in the shower looking out. Another picture looking out. Okay, here I've got the bench installed. This is a granite slab, and I have a matching one for the threshold here. Decided not to go with any kind of a marble pre-made slab. I had a granite stone company down the street from me, and I just found a cutoff. And I gave them the dimensions, they cut it, and it fit right in. It's really nice. And of course, I got the tiles here installed on the floor. And here the tiling is starting out on the main floor. These are just test fit. This is not the way it's going to be. I'm just kind of spacing things out. And here you can see I made my own oak threshold because the height difference between the carpeted area and the tile was kind of a drastic difference because not only did I put in thicker plywood, but it's got cement board and tile on top, and I just kind of had to cover the threshold here, and a flat piece of marble would not cut it. Here we go. I used these same tiles on the floor, on the wall, and I'm working my way up. Another view of me working my way up with the tiles. Here you can see I've got the threshold installed and the tiling is done, and I use this bullnose one here as a little trim all the way around. I thought that made a nice little detail, and I continued with that up right here on the edge of the shower up on both sides. Here I got the vent installed, probably temporarily because I don't even have this grouted. Oh wait, this is a movie. Let's see what's going on. Yep, still didn't do much in there. Just a quick shot. There's another view. Got the cabinet installed. Got the mirror installed and a new lighting fixture. And here you can see the bullnose trim detail going all the way up. And you can see I've got a stripe started here. It just didn't continue because I took this in vertical picture mode. There's another going across. You can see I'm putting in this little trim stripe all the way across here. Different lighting, exposure. Here you can see the trim is going to go right through the cubby and it continues on the other side. Here I cut a spacer so that I could continue with the tiles across without this here sliding down on me. And another border, another trim going all the way around right above the cubby. A couple nice racing stripes. Another view. Starting to continue with the tile up, and then that was the last full row. The next one has to be custom cut for the very irregular ceiling. So none of these are the same. Every single one had to be custom cut because I wanted a nice clean edge all the way around. This was a panoramic view. Doesn't really do much effect here. Also a quick panoramic, but it kind of looks distorted. Still not a good view. That was a bad panoramic. Very choppy. Here's a nice photo. You can see I got a nice clean edge right at the ceiling. I didn't want to have to put caulk or grout or anything up there. So I was very careful when I cut each and every tile to custom fit it right up in there. And also around the pipe here, I wanted to make a really nice tight fit. There you can see how close I got. And you can see putting in the grout makes a mess. For some reason I decided to go with a single component grout, and it's kind of nice. You don't have to mix it, but it's very sticky. You actually have to wet the surface of the tile so that the grout doesn't adhere to the face of the tile, only to the edges where it goes in. Otherwise it's really difficult to clean off, and I had to put protection down here because I'm just messy and I did not want to have to clean it up off of the floor here. That would have been really rough. Here you can see the grout is all done up on the walls, and I've still got to do the floor down here. And I installed the cubby. Makes a really nice additional touch here. And this, I think I put in upside down, but the reason I did that is because if I do it the other way, it seems to stick further out into the shower, even though it's up higher. And since it's pretty narrow, I didn't want to, I just felt it was nice to put it there. Not sure my exact thinking. This was years ago I did this. Okay, finished with the grout on the floor. You can see it makes the tile pop. It's kind of nice. Matches the walls. The bench matches the threshold. It's got this really nice, cool, natural details in the stone. I like that. Another shot of the completed version. And here I put in a pedestal instead of that old vanity that was in here. And of course reinstalled the cleaned up toilet. And you can see the trim here with the grout. Really looks nice. Another shot. And there's a completed bathroom. I think it turned out really well. Hope you enjoyed.